Excuse the dogs barking because they bark at mailmen. And what do we have here? An unboxing. Haven't done an unboxing in a really long time. All right, let's get this open in fast motion. This item went completely hot and heavy on eBay. I watched it for 7 days and was a nervous wreck because I was like, this thing is going to go for sky high, because something like this generally sells in the $1,000 to $3,000 range. And so what we have here is not just any crucifix, it's actually a relic crucifix. All right, so first, before we go over what relics are, we're going to go over what Venetian, or, well, it's really Roman micro mosaic crucifixes and all sorts of different kinds of jewelry and things that are made out of what are known as micro mosaics. What is a micro mosaic? A micro mosaic is basically a bunch of colored tiles that are made out of glass that are placed into a frame to make a picture. And so it forms pictures, and you can find actually these on eBay and in antique shops, thrift stores, but they're very hard to get. And when you do find them, they're extremely, extremely expensive. Now, the ones that are most sought after are generally from the Grand Tour of Europe of the 19th century. So the 1800s ones, now they did make them previous to the 1800s, but it's almost impossible to find those on the market. Now, the smaller the tiles, I don't know if you can see this, the older they generally are. These ones are from the late 19th century to the early 20th century. And I have all different kinds of examples to show you in crucifixes. Now, that's not to say that they only made them in crucifixes. They made them in brooches, earrings, necklaces, bracelets, even art. So you would have a framed piece of art with thousands and thousands and thousands of little micro mosaic tiles to form pictures. Those are the most sought after. Very hard to tell whether you have a 19th century one or a 20th century one. It's extremely hard because for some reason they made them almost identical from the 19th century or the 1800 ones to today. Now, generally, these stopped being made sometime in the 50s. They went out of favor. So pretty much you don't find these particular crucifixes that were purchased in Rome on the market after the 50s. That's not to say that they're not being made today. They are, but not on a grand scale of what they once were. Now, when you find these, and they come in all different sizes and shapes, like you see here in my examples, I have these little collectible holders for my Vatican stuff. You'll see them in all different sizes. Some of them are pendant size, like this one right here. A lot of nuns and priests wore them, actually, with their rosaries. And these would have been like actually slung from a waistband rosary. Really quite cool. This example is really quite beautiful. And again, it's very hard to tell if these are antique or if these are 20th century, mid or beginning 20th century. This one has Pope Pius the 11th right there in the center medallion. Again, beautiful, beautiful micro mosaic flower detailing going through it, grapes. Some of them have animals, some of them have Roman columns. You will find them in various different configurations. Here we have wheat and we have grapes, flowers. Sometimes you'll find lambs on them. We'll have these symbols here. And again, we got our Roman column. Really quite cool. Now, a lot of times crucifixes like these are not cheap. So when you do find them, you'll find them on eBay. For example, the bigger they are, and the more elaborate and the older they are, the more money they're worth. Generally, a late 19th century one will sell for about $1,000. That's on the high end. And on the low end, about $400 to $500 for the smaller ones, like say this one, which is about 3.5 to 4 inches in length. You actually will find them from time to time popping up on eBay. But whoever the sellers are generally do a lot of research on these and find out that these are quite expensive and put prices that are a little higher than most people can afford. If you can find one for $100 or less, grab it. You're getting a really good deal. So this one at $160, I think I won it for $165, was a major score. especially we have the Relic. Let's go ahead and you'll see this little flower in the center of this glass panel. This is removable, by the way. And if you look under there, you'll see like that little black dot. What that is the body part of a saint. And that's what a relic is. There are first class, second class, and third class relics. If you're collecting relics, you want to collect relics that are first class because it comes from the body part of a saint. Second class relic is generally like a part of their cloak that they wore, a ring, if they own something, a shoelace, something that they actually wore. Third class is actually pretty much, I could take this first class relic right here, a Pope Pius X, who became a saint as well. And let's go ahead. You can see the words. Sometimes they're in there on a piece of paper. Don't know if you can see it. It's in there on the very bottom. Very, very hard to show you guys. I'm trying to focus in there. But, yeah, it's not happening. Let's try this again. And I am going to try. You'll see a piece of paper under the flower. And it says Pope Pius X. What the heck happened here? Did the paper fall out? Sometimes they fall out because they're glued in. But, yeah, the paper's in there. You can see it wedged under the flower. I was able to read it clearly with my naked eye. But it's very hard to see it when I'm trying to show you in video. And there we go. Sometimes these are glued in and they fall down over time. So you don't want to open it up, and I'll show you why. How you know you have a real holy relic is by the wax seal on the back. And this is by the postula, consulate, or the postulator or postular of the Catholic Church. And they don't do this anymore, boys and girls. This was actually something that anyone could have had, a first-class relic. For some reason now you cannot get first-class relics if you are a regular person. So if you are actually a regular parishioner of the Catholic Church, you will not get one of these first-class relics anymore, or second-class. It's against the rules because so many people were abusing it and then flipping these things and selling them for thousands of dollars that the church got smart to it. And now only pretty much the Vatican wants them to themselves, and an occasional bishop or cardinal may get them. Priests and nuns once in a while will get a second-class relic or a first-class relic, but they're even having a hard time getting them themselves. So Pope Pius X, one of my favorite popes, actually in history, I've done a lot of research on popes. He was a very, very, very conservative. He did not like modernism, did not like basically like things changing in the Catholic Church. He wanted to keep everything traditional and with no changes. You know, like nowadays they keep changing the rules. Like you used to be able to not eat meat on Friday. Now you can have fish, you know, stuff like that. And he was a stickler. He was like not into this, you know, new changes of the church. And he wanted to keep it traditional. He became a saint. Now, to become a saint, first you had to become beatified, and basically I call it beautified. And so you had to perform at least one miracle, and you had to be somebody who is a fierce champion of the church. Once you get beatified, the Pope in current tenure will decide whether or not you have made two miracles. You had to perform in your life, you would have had to perform two miracles in order to become a saint. Now, Pope Pius X was known for multiple miracles. One, he actually cured an Irish girl who was covered in sores. They completely went away. Another person was a nun who had an abdominal cancer, and she swallowed a piece of, she had someone like cut like a piece of his cloak, I guess on the down low, you know, and they gave her a little square of the piece of his cloak, and she swallowed it, and her cancer was cured. Another person was, I think he was paralyzed in his arm, and he ended up becoming non-paralyzed when the Pope blessed him and did a healing prayer for him. He was able to move his arm again. Another person had a real bad foot disease. I think it was another nun, and she asked for his sock, and some people who arranged for him to give the sock from his foot that he was wearing to these people to bring to her. She placed the sock on her foot and was instantly cured. And this Pope was known for a sense of humor. He actually laughed and said, because he had a lot of foot problems, extremely bad foot problems. He said, but my socks do me no good. I'm surprised because I can't find the exact wording. Basically, my sock is useless to me. But look at this. My sock is helping other people. And so a sock cured her, a sock that came from his foot. Can you imagine? So he did not want to be Pope. He was actually, when they were deciding upon who Pope was, he said, somebody went up to him and said, you're a contender. And he sighed and he said, better dead than Pope. He did not want to be the Pope. He was very humble. He was poor. He came from a poor upbringing. His name was Giuseppe Sarto. And he actually was poor. He came from, I think, a poor farming family. He walked to school for miles every single day. And he trudged to school with no shoes on because they were so poor that they could not afford to keep buying new shoes. So he would sling them over his shoulders so he wouldn't wear them out. That's how poor he was. Now, when he became Pope, his family, of course, would have gotten special favor. And he said, no, my sisters are his equal, because they were going to give, like, his sisters some kind of beautiful housing. And he said, no, why do they get anything more special than anybody else? Like, I'm not any more special than anybody else. So he did not actually act like he was high and mighty. He was very well loved and revered by people in the Catholic Church. Now, more facts about him. Let's get it up. I'm going to get a picture of him. And so we're going to find out, like, when he was born and stuff like that. Okay, so blessed Pope Pius X, who died in 1914. He was, by the way, Pope from 1903 to 1914. He died in 1914 and was beatified on June 3rd of 1951. His two miracles concerned, by the way, there was multiple miracles, like I told you, besides these, concern a Naples law, Francesco Balsant, the lawyer, who was cured overnight of a cancerous lung abscess on August 27th of 1951. Another one, Sister Maria Luisa Scorcia, was suddenly cured of a chronic and dangerous inflammation in February of 1952. There was multiple miracles attributed to this Pope. And, I mean, you can, like, keep going and going. And of course, they're going to give us, all that mumbo jumbo and ads. And, we're going to go way back into time. And I'm going to type in Pope Pius again. Oh, for the love of God. Pope Pius X. No, not XI, you moron. X. Oh my God. I can't even, here we go. Pope Pius X. We got to take away the other I. And let's search. Here we go. Here we go. Photos of Pope Pius. Now I'm doing this on my cell phone. I know it's not popular, to be doing this. He had very kind eyes. Extremely kind eyes. Now, the thing I find very funny about him was that when he became Pope, he actually, he did not like fancy things. And they said to him, is that the crucifix you're going to wear? And he's like, yeah, what's wrong with it? I've been using it for over, 30, 40, 50 years. And they said, you can't wear that crucifix. That's not what a pope wears. And so they had to loan him one. And he went back to his old, like, wooden, traditional priest's crucifix afterwards. He did not like pomp and circumstance. Also, when his canonization photo was taken where he poses in the throne, he did not even have his own cloak. Like, they wear these really fabulous, amazing cloaks covered in encrusted gems and what have you. He wore the same cloak from the Pope before him. And they said, you can't do this. And he's like, I'm doing this. And so they had to, in the picture on the bottom, it had the previous Pope's photo in the bottom of the hem. And they actually, when they took the photo of him, they cut off the bottom of the hem for his official photo. So yeah, here he is. Oh, this is the photo. Let's see if we can blow it up. And this is like so annoying. We're gonna just do this from my phone. What's this annual physical? I know I need one. Thanks for reminding me. All right, so here we go. He was born in 1835 on June 2nd. His name was Giuseppe Melchiorre Sarto in Treviso near Venice. He was one of 10 children. His father was a cobbler and postman, and his mother a seamstress, so they would not farm, as I was wrong. In 1850, at the age of 15, Giuseppe entered the seminary. He was really gentle, and he was known. He loved children. When he even became higher up in the church before Pope, he was known to hand out candy to street urchins. They called them urchins back then. And he was a peasant, and a complete peasant. So here he is. This is following the death of Pope Leo the 13th in 1903. He was elected Pope. He did not want to be Pope, and he only served for 11 years. This is his official photo. We can blow it up. But if you see, they cut off the bottom of the picture because he had Pope Leo's, whatever you call that, cloak on with all the fanciness, as you can see here. That wasn't even his. Every pope gets their own, including the papal hat or crown. He didn't want anything to do with that. And so he his known thing was to renew all things in Christ. He believed children should be allowed to receive the Holy Communion as soon as they were old enough to understand the importance. So because of this Pope, children now receive communion much younger than they did before 1903. So we can thank him for that. And he did not like changes in the church. He did not want any kind of modernism. He did not like communism and stuff like that. He wanted the traditions of the church to be kept on going. And unfortunately now things are changing, and I don't like it myself. I wouldn't say I was a major Catholic, but as a non-practicing Catholic, I'd say it sort of is annoying. So here's an example you'll find on eBay, $896 for just a plain micro Mosaic cross. And again, it's, even though they'll say it's antique, there's no way of fully knowing if this is an early 20th century one or a mid 20th century one or a late 19th century. As you can see, they do not really vary. They did not change in appearance, but these are very expensive, and they come in all different kinds of pictures going on them. As you can see, we got lovely doves on this one, and they vary in size. And sometimes they're more elaborate than others. Here's this person's picture of different ones in different sizes. And again, this one is a relatively larger one at 11.5 inches. And the price for that is too expensive. And this one is $896.25. Can't afford it. So here's another example being sold on eBay, $950. I'm trying to show you my screen. And this one, what size is this? Only 5¼ inches. And let's look at it. And again, these all are, they look the same, but no two are alike. They have all different photos going through it. And this one is a lot of money. Let's go back to the photos. And this stupid thing is in my way. All right, let's go ahead. And here we go. So as you can see, these things are not cheap. $950 for that one. And some of them you can get lucky. You can get one for $150 to $300, but that's like a major bargain. Rarely ever happens. Now here's another one that I had turned into a necklace. I got this really inexpensive toggle necklace from Amazon, and this little bale that swivels, a swivel bale that you can attach pendants to. And I turned this one into a necklace. This one is really quite lovely. This one has a picture of the Pope. Now, remember, this was at a time when colored photographs weren't a thing, even in the 40s, and it wasn't popular. And so this was hand-colored. I don't know if you could see that, but the Pope's image is hand-colored with like a celluloid plastic little cover over the picture. But again, look at the workmanship on this. Look how much work. And this is Pope Pius. I believe it's Pope Pius the 11th, XI. Yeah, that's Pope Pius the 11th. This is probably from the 30s, and you can see the workmanship on this is bar none. A crucifix like this, generally you'll sell in the $200 to $300 price range, but you can, that's not to say that you can't find them for $100 or $125 here and there on eBay or in a thrift store or somewhere else. All right, so what we got here is something really spectacular. It's really amazing. And sadly, I cannot show you where it says Pope Pius. Jesus' head is in the way. But there is a piece of paper down here. And let's see if we can see that paper. You see the X? It's upside down, but it has his name. And so this is something that would probably, a relic collector, we're going to talk about relic collecting in a moment. A relic collector would pay for about between $1,000 to about $3,000 for something like this. Although, if it had the original documents, now a lot of these did come with original documents from the Vatican, from the postulator's office, they're worth more with that. But since we had the Vatican wax seal on the back with the strings, where if the strings are actually cut, you know that this was fudged with. And since it was not fudged with, and we had the original wax seal on the back, we do know that this is a actual real relic, a Vatican approved relic. And so it's really not going to lower the price too much on this. But if you're going to buy one with the actual paperwork, it's usually worth, it adds value to it, of course. Now, are you supposed to have this as a Catholic? The answer is no. If you have one of these, you're not supposed to have this. You're actually supposed to bring it to your nearest church and give it away. And to the priest there, whoever is running the church over in your area or whichever church of your choosing, you're supposed to give your relics away. You can have a third-class relic. And what is a third-class relic? Basically, a first-class relic, like this one here, will touch this. And then now we have this became a third-class relic just now. And this just became a third-class relic. This just became a third-class relic. This just became a third-class relic. And this just became a third-class relic. Okay, so we can have third-class relics, but we can't have first and second. It's really against the rule. It's called, there's a word, I think simony, S-I-M-O-N-Y. If you're a Catholic and you have this, it's supposed to be shared with other people. So by keeping it, it's considered a sin and greedy. Now, if you can find one of these at a thrift store, can you sell it on eBay? If you're a real Catholic that's devout, the answer is no. But you can get away with it. And I'm not telling you to do this. So I'm just giving you ideas of what I see on eBay. For example, on eBay, somebody will sell a holy card. They're usually $1 at a Catholic supply store. And they'll say, this auction is for this holy card of St. Anthony. And it comes with free relic. And then the price will be like $2,000. So basically, that's how you can get away with it. Or you can say free holy card, comes with free relic, started at like 99 cents, buy it now, and shipping charge of $2,000. And that's the only way you can really get away with this type of shenanigans. And as a Catholic, are you supposed to buy this stuff on, say, eBay or at a thrift store? The answer is really no. It's a sin. It's actually being greedy because you're trying to, but I like it. And I really don't think that I'm doing something wrong. If you think I'm doing something wrong, please don't blast me in the comments below. But I like this stuff. I'm going to actually share it with my local church the next time. I have issues with leaving the house because I have very bad anxiety. If these saints here can intercede on my behalf and cure me of my condition, I will take these to my local church and have them placed on display. This isn't my only holy relic. That's a first-class relic that I have. And place it out there so other people can enjoy it as well. But I will take it back home at the end of maybe a week or 5 days because I do not want to give my treasures away. Just like the Vatican does not like giving their treasures away. I don't like giving my treasures away at all either. So thanks for watching, learning about micro mosaics, how damn expensive they are. Now, micro mosaic regular jewelry from the 50s and the 40s and the 30s, you can get a bracelet for $20-$30 on eBay, a ring for $20-$30. They were basically made with like tin and brass or nickel metal, never real precious metals, unless some of them that you get from the 19th century, the real antique ones, those ones. You get a brooch from 1890, 1870, that's micro mosaic, it's going to sell for hundreds of dollars. Probably the more elaborate designs with the tiles, $800 to $2,000, depending on the size and what kind of metals are used. But a regular one from the 20s, 30s, 40s, you can get them all day long on eBay for $20, $30, $40. You can get beautiful dangle drop festoon necklaces with drops made out of these Venetian tiles with pictures on them. About $100 from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. The bracelets, they make panel bracelets, and you find them a lot on eBay. Those generally in the $20 to $90 range. The more bigger and elaborate, the more money. So I hope you enjoyed learning about micro mosaics, which actually was perfected by Italians, not invented by Italians, or made by thousands of little pieces of colored glass to form a picture. The newer ones, the ones that are not antique, or we can say vintage ones, will have bigger tiles. The ones that are truly antiques will have more like square footage per inch of tile. So the bigger the tile, the more latest it is. The earlier ones, again, the smaller tiles. The ones probably from the very, very late 1900s to the mid 20th century will have tiles about this size. Is it easy to tell if these are 19th century or 20th century? Yes, because they were almost always identical. Now, there's some telltale factors that these are older than others, but really hard to tell. So thanks for watching. Now, all these ones in my collection here are from, I'd say, about 1910 to up until about the 1950s. Now, this one looks the oldest, but this one was probably from the 1950s, which is, I'm telling you, it's very, very hard to tell which one's older than the others. And thanks for watching. See you guys all on the next one. Another relic is coming soon. 2 more, actually. First class relics are coming soon. So I can't wait to show you what saint arrives at the house the next time.